Hello there, welcome to the Cheap Bastard channel. Today we are going to ask a really important question. Is it really a time to upgrade the Intel Core i5-2400 CPU? To answer this question, I just have bought an Intel Xeon i3-1240 V2 CPU of a used local market for 50 euros, and I will compare their gaming performance side by side. Now, let's go over the specs. The i5-2400 is a quad-core CPU that has launched in first quarter of 2011 as a mid-range Intel offering. It is built on 32nm Intel Sandy Bridge architecture and was launched with an MSRP of around $170. The i5 has a 95W TDP, 6MB of cache, and a base clock of 3.1 GHz with a turbo up to 3.4. Meanwhile, a Xeon i3-1240 V2 CPU is a 4-core 8-thread and has launched in second quarter of 2012 as a high-end offering. It is built on 22nm Intel Ivy Bridge architecture and was selling around $260. The Xeon has 69W TDP, 8MB of cache, and a base clock of 3.4 GHz with a turbo up to 3.8. So, let's compare their gaming performance side by side. I will test those games with a GTX 1066GB and 8GB of DDR3 1333MHz RAM. For the first game to test, I chose one of the most popular games of all time, Fortnite. i5 managed to get 82 FPS on average with a minimum of 15 and maximum of 104. Meanwhile, Xeon got an average of 103 FPS with a minimum of 68 and maximum of 127 FPS. But despite those numbers, the gaming performance actually felt almost the same when I jumped out of the bus, but in the waiting area there was noticeable difference between those two CPUs, because there wasn't any freezing on Xeon processor. Next game is Star Wars The Battlefront 2. This game is not as popular as Fortnite, but it's still decent. Xeon was able to get 77 FPS on average with a minimum of 57 and a maximum of 143. In the other hand, we have i5 that managed to get an average of 81 FPS with a maximum of 201 and a minimum of 57. i5 got more FPS than Xeon. Strange, isn't it? It is time for the next game, and it is Need for Speed Payback. This game is the newest in the series and has launched in late 2017. In comparison, i5 got an average of 84 FPS at a minimum of 59 and a maximum of 109 FPS. And if we look at the Xeon stats, the result is shocking. Oh my! Xeon got an average of 76 FPS with a minimum of 47 and a maximum of 114. i5 won this round. Moving on, we have Blizzard's most popular game, Overwatch. i5 got an average of 69 FPS and a maximum of 73 with a minimum of 49. Meanwhile, Xeon got the same average of 69 FPS with a maximum of 73 and a minimum of 59. These processors got almost the same stats except minimum. The stats really indicate that our GPU is limiting us here. Anyways, the battle was close, but Xeon won this round. For the last game, I chose CSGO. Xeon managed to get an average of 196 FPS with a minimum of 52 and the maximum of 269 FPS. And i5 got an average of 148 FPS with a minimum of 95 and the astonishing maximum of 287 FPS. So, in the end, the scores were pretty the same and our GPU was limiting factor in most cases. In conclusion, there's no need to change your i5 processor to Xeon if you own a GTX 1066GB or something weaker. If you found this video helpful, consider destroying the subscribe button for more videos like that. Don't forget that I am just starting, so if you have some tips how to make these videos better or you have editing tips, just leave them below. Have a wonderful day guys, Cheap Bastard out, peace.